Hey, everybody, and welcome to another adventure, or they call it an episode, of Father Knows Something. And everyone, I know why we're wearing robes. I'm going to share with you. For some of you guys that really never got to have the full father experience of them embarrassing you by coming out with like boxers and a t-shirt or just a bathrobe when your friends are there and you're like, what are you doing? And this is what I pulled tonight. I came out and I said, they're going to get the full father experience. So here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, definitely a double meaning with that one because today's theme is heartbreak. And what do you want to do when you get your heart broken?
You just want to get on a robe and find your comfort spot and just mellow.
Yeah, have some chocolate, maybe some wine, some tears. But
macaroni and cheese and ice cream.
A bathrobe or a comfy big sweatshirt is
some
necessary.
Nausea.
Nausea?
Yeah.
Are you nauseous when you're sad?
Who doesn't get nauseous when they're heartbroken?
When you really get heartbroken, yeah, you don't eat. You literally, a couple things happen when you get heartbroken.
I go the opposite way. I binge eat.
Typically, if you're really heartbroken, really in love with that person, you quit eating. I think you'll find even if you try to fact check me on that one, you might find that one.
No appetite.
No appetite kills it.
Yeah, no, I definitely sad, stress. I eat my feelings. But it's either way, whatever you choose.
So this is going to be an interesting evening, I can tell.
Yeah, should be good.
Because I've had my share of heartbreak.
Have you now?
I have. I've had many, many years of heartbreak.
Well, I'm sure you'll give great advice then.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it rolls.
Okay.
So let's get started.
Okay, so up first, hi Jerry, I love the show. I'll get right into it. I'm 23 and had been dating my boyfriend, 27 male, for the past 3 years, living together for 2 of them. I've never loved someone so much, but the relationship was not great. We had a lot of good times together, but we are ultimately incompatible. He was a bit immature and his treatment of me wasn't always the best. He would constantly invalidate my feelings, blame me for everything, turn situations around on me, prioritize himself, ignore my bare minimum needs / guilt me for them. I was the only one sacrificing everything, etc. We broke up 4 days ago. I'm in the process of moving out of our apartment, back in with my parents. I just finished my master's to be a therapist, and I'll be getting a job soon. But I'm taking a couple months to relax and heal with my family before moving out again. I guess what I need advice on is how exactly to deal with heartbreak. Even though my ex treated me crappy, we had so much fun and love for each other, and the breakup hurts so much even though I know it's for the best. It feels like there's a hole in my heart, and I don't know how to live without him. We are on good terms and no contact except for necessary logistics. I know it will get better with time, but for now, it hurts so much, and I don't know how to cope. I am starting therapy soon, and I have great friends, but still, ouch.
3 years of your life is a lot of time to be with somebody, and if you think that you can take 3 years of waking up every morning and going to bed every night and having all the good experiences that you did have, that it didn't make an effect on you, it does. The good thing is that you do recognize clearly where the dysfunction was. And if I asked any of the 2 people to my left and said, do either one of you think that's going to improve as he gets older?
No.
No. Morgan, yes or no?
Probably not. He's 27.
Well, it might over time, but not within this relationship.
Okay. So my point to you is I don't see him changing a lot. You've got after 1 year, year 2 and year 3, it's pretty much who he is. And if it's not working with that chemistry between the 2 of you, you have a fresh start going forward. And as far as the pain goes, in the beginning, and as you miss that person, for some reason, after we break up, we forget about the shit they pulled with us. We forget. We write off and give them amnesty in our head for their behavior because all we miss is the good time. It's like when you have childbirth, I am told, one of the most painful, struggling moments in your life, but for some reason, moms keep going back and doing it again sometimes. So you forget that pain and understand that heartbreak, because let me tell you, I've been there, and there are moments that I still think about those ones that I have loved and the good times that we had and some of the events we shared together. But it's okay to share, to have those feelings and remember those good times that you shared because they were good experiences. You don't have to wipe them from your life. The only thing that you really need to wipe for your own health is the fact that this person isn't your person for the rest of your life. And you will, through your new job and now that you got your degree, you're going to develop a whole new life, a whole new area of working and people you're going to come in contact with. And probably unless for some reason there's somebody that was in your past that you'll still be, the universe will connect you back with, you might meet somebody totally different, wildly different, and because you know what's not acceptable in your relationship, that trigger will be pulled a lot quicker if whoever you meet does come in your life and they have those behaviors. You will knock it out of the park and end that quicker than anything that you've done in the past. So this is all healthy for you. And just, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy movies, enjoy your new job, and work and exercise and go out and do things. And this will heal. But remember, there is a hole and it's got to heal, and you just got to give yourself a break and let it heal in a healthy way and move forward. And you guys will, once that's all healed, you might end up in friends in the future. I'm still friends with people who I was very much in love with one time, but now we're just friends, and those feelings they're non-existent. I mean, when I say I married my ex-girlfriend, I literally conducted the ceremony for her and her now husband, and we're best friends. I mean, we're very good friends. So it can roll that way. I'm going to let you guys take it.
Yeah, these stories always kind of bring me back to, I sympathize very deeply with it because I remember that first shock feeling that you have at least for the first couple weeks, that really intense, just like, I don't know what to do, I can't move forward feeling. Mm-hmm. And it really does, if you can, you get through it, it is time.
You feel like your left leg and right arm are gone or something like that.
It's just like you don't know how to proceed, but really it is time, because I felt those feelings and it just goes away. Like you just build a new normal. And I think that's the hardest part, is you recognize the relationship wasn't great. Obviously, once something ends, all you can think of are the good things. But in knowing that it wasn't great, I think you need to keep reminding yourself that it wasn't perfect, that this isn't your person forever. And that will help kind of balance out only remembering and romanticizing the good parts. But if you just lean into friends, lean into distractions, and just get through some time, don't wish time away. But honestly, like the first couple weeks, you can wish that time away as quickly as you want, because you just got to distract yourself. And then once you start to feel okay, that's when you can really focus on self-love, self-healing, and just getting back to that independent life for a while. And then it does get better. And it opens up a door, because you already pointed out the flaws in the relationship. So you can find something better and someone better, which you will. So it's just, you have to go through this to get there.
Yeah. The only thing I would add is Tylenol. Tylenol. Yeah, you might be laughing at me, but there is studies now that have come out that basically the part of our brain that recognizes emotional pain also recognizes physical pain. And breakups are painful. We go through physical, psychological, emotional pain with a breakup. And so if you are going through a recent breakup, take Tylenol for a couple of days after because it has been proven to decrease your heartache.
Wow.
And you were laughing at me.
I thought it took a trip. I thought it took a ski trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming for me.
Maybe both.
Maybe a little bit of both.
And I was on top of the hill and I would say, she's trying to call me. She's trying to call me. I go, I can feel the vibe. And I'd go down, I'd check my email. I was a nutcase. An absolute nutcase.
You're like
check
that
your
with every
email?
breakup, though.
No, I'm different.
Oh no, we'll start with the big letter A. That was the recent one, and you were bad.
Well, not like the one was Jackson Hole, Wyoming was really insanity. I mean, I kept going up and down the hill thinking that the phone was ringing.
That's what it's like, though.
It's insanity.
You cling to it. As soon as it's over,
Yeah.
the only thing you want is for it to not be over, even though you know it should be over, which is the weird part. But also, how do you go from something even if it's a bad relationship, it's still your normal, your comfort zone. It's what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And to break that after years is weird. That's like all of a sudden it's like involuntarily all of a sudden needing to just leave your house. It's like you get evicted. You kind of are in this shock, especially if you don't see it coming. So it's just, I don't know, you go from the closest person in your life to we're never going to talk again,
Right.
basically, unless you're friends and whatever down the line. But essentially you go from knowing everything and you are the closest
That's right.
to nothing. And it's
crazy.
That shift isn't going to be easy no matter what,
You want to know the good news?
who or what.
You ready for the good news? The optimistic side? Here it comes. You know what it is to love, and you know what you want to have to be loved. And because you know what that feeling feels like, you're going to find it easier the second time and stronger than the first time.
And falling in love is one of the best feelings and the most exciting times you can ever go through.
Well,
so
certainly lust.
you get to do it again.
Lust
right?
is great.
No, but they get to do it again. So it's like, look forward to the good parts.
Yeah, but it also the beginning lustful part is a lot of fun, but the depth of love as you spend those years and gain that trust with that person really is the best. So there's two sides of it.
That's deep in the future.
Oh, yeah.
In this one.
But the initial ride is great. I love that first little. It's a lot of thrill.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to get my junk out of here. I forgot to clean off the table, so pass my junk down this way.
I see.
Junk.
Yeah.
Junk shop.
Well, except that lighter. I got this new lighter, you guys, and it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's like a normal Bic lighter, but it's got a baby torch on the top.
So you don't burn the shit out of your fingers.
Yeah, and I always like hit
For candles.
Yeah.
For candles.
Well, and when they burn really deep, yeah, it's just magic. Okay, what'd you do?
Here's the thing. Have you ever done the flint, the
Don't
regular
waste
one?
my gasoline.
And you point it down and something about the wick starts like flickering and sparking and it all lands on your thumb.
Yeah, it hurts.
And it just like,
Yeah. So all of my candles, like especially the wood wick ones, they spark off on you and it hurts
Or like
when you're really close. So this is perfect.
literally like the tall, thin candles that you have to light way down in there.
Exactly.
I'm ready to do another read. I'm in the mood.
Okay. Up next. My boyfriend, male 19, of almost 4 years, broke up with me, female 19, out of nowhere a few weeks ago. He texted me a paragraph while I was at work, basically saying he doesn't love me anymore and wants the relationship to end. We exchanged a few text messages before he ended up saying goodbye and blocking me on everything.
What is this shit with these people breaking up with a text message? But
19.
Keep going.
19.
I'll shut up. I just listen to this crap. Go ahead.
I was absolutely heartbroken and on the verge of an anxiety attack, so I was forced to leave work early that day. I didn't do anything to deserve this type of reaction from him.
Oh, you did.
I ended up getting a hold of him and we met in person. I did and said everything I could think of, but for some reason, he just didn't even want to try. When I realized he wasn't going to say yes to working on the relationship, I asked to be friends. We have been together since we were 15 and have been each other's first boyfriend, girlfriend, first kiss, and we lost our virginities to each other. This relationship was incredibly serious, and we had completely planned on spending our lives together, even going as far as picking out future baby names. We have been long distance the past year at college, which has been rough, but we both went into it fully prepared to face any challenges that would come up together. It's been a few weeks since the breakup, and I cannot move on. This boy is the love of my life, and I miss him constantly. We have seen each other and have talked a few times since the breakup, and while he cares about me, he doesn't want to try again right now, even though at one point he entertained the idea before changing his mind and saying he just wanted to be friends. We briefly tried going no contact, but that didn't work out. We both go back to school in 3 weeks, and once that happens, I feel like there's little to no chance of trying again. So many friends have told me I will find somebody better, that I shouldn't be treated this way, that I'm still so young and this won't matter in the long run, and that he doesn't deserve me. But frankly, I don't even care. I know I am still young and could find somebody else one day, but I don't want to, and I don't think I will ever get over this boy enough to get to that point. I'm scared I will look for him in all my future relationships, and I don't ever want to do that to somebody else. I want him back so terribly bad that it hurts all the time. I've literally tried everything in order to start to move on, but I don't know what else to do. He told me that he may want to try again in the future, and I know I shouldn't wait for him because it's so painful, but I can't help but think that's all I can do. I'm trying to be happy on my own, but it's so hard. I would really appreciate any and all advice on my situation, as I am so lost on what to do. Ideal outcome? Ideally, he would realize how good he has it with me, and we would work things out, or I would figure out how to move on and be happy on my own, because if it's meant to be, it will happen. Any additional info? He has told me that he knows he probably won't find somebody who loves him as much and is willing to fight for him like I am. This is partially why I'm struggling, because if he knows that, why won't he put in the effort?
So I want you to, everything you said, and some of the things you said at the end are very true. But I'm going to say this, 25% of your life was with this guy. You guys are yin and yang. But what's going on is that there's a developmental side what's happening right now and exploratory side. And I'm not going to tell you to wait, but I'm also not going to tell you that things can turn around, because you are such an integral part of breathing, the breathe in and the breathe out. That's going to have some effect as he goes forward. He's not going to experience that right off the bat. He is going to experience lust right now as he sees other, candy out there. And I hate to say it that way and try to, invalidate the importance of a relationship, but he's gone to college. His eyes are wide open. There's experiences. Things are just going on, and he doesn't know how to quite to deal with it. So he's going to explore. So one thing that you said, if we're meant to be, will be, it will happen, but you're going to have to give that time. And you are not to sit by and wait for him and dwell about it, why this does happen. You need to go explore and grow on your own to see what other people offer in a relationship and see what's really there, to see what was important about the relationship you have or what is important with the next relationship that you have with people that you meet. None of this is really bad. It's just, this is a growing pain. And when sometimes if you are an athlete and you go on off season a little bit and you come back and you work hard, your muscles get sore. It hurts when you grow your muscles and they're stretched a little bit more. So let the muscle of love get stretched a little bit and get deeper on his part. I know that you're there. I know you feel it, but he's got to come into it full, realizing that how could I've ever thought that I'm going to give up the most important person in my life. And you want to be the most important person in his life to build this family and build a home and to build a life and to go for it, because life is a long time. It's not 5 years, it's 70 years more. I mean, it's crazy what's out there and how long we're living these days. And going through the pains of, working, not working, children, your children's having their issues and having to do all this stuff together, united, you got to make sure you're with the right person. And he's only got past, the first, the first quarter in the game. We have a long game ahead of us. So go on, be with your friends, meet people, go on dates, go do whatever it is. And as much as he probably is dating right now, I would imagine. This sounds a typical thing that happens when someone is already dating somebody else. They come and they cut it off as quick and clean as they can so they can feel free to move on and not have anybody mad. But there's a long road ahead when he starts dating somebody, and it's not going to always be, peaches and cream. It could end abruptly as it starts. This is a real road. So just grin and bear it. Enjoy the ride while he's doing his thing. You just go do your thing and see where you guys end up at the end of the game.
Just 2 points just from my experience. I probably would have felt the same way coming out of high school with, I just got lucky and the first person is my soulmate and we were each other's first and we're first kiss, first everything, prom and you go through all these big life changes and life experiences with this one person and you think, oh my God, it's rare to have high school sweethearts and all this thing and all this stuff, but maybe I just got lucky, because it's not that you're not smart. It's just that you're relatively inexperienced when it comes to love because you've only had one relationship. Mm-hmm. Sort of puts you in this box where you think this is it. And it, I would say in a majority of cases, it isn't. You find out through this. Texting someone to break up isn't great. At least you didn't get ghosted long distance. I just think it's hard at that age as a male to have the maturity to sit down with someone and say, hey, this isn't working. I'm not feeling it anymore. I'm feeling that I need to go explore and do whatever, which this is the time. If you guys, you don't want to convince them to stay because you're going to just prolong these problems. But that also goes along with, I had 2 friends in high school. I've told this many times on this podcast and on 2 Outtakes, but I had 2 friends in high school that high school sweethearts left for college, tried to do the long distance thing, broke up, both went and did their thing for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. All of a sudden on Instagram, you see them back together because they're both back home, thriving, married, have a house. I think they have pets. I don't know if they have kids yet, but it does happen. But the only reason it happened for them is not because they both sat around and thought, I'm just so excited to get back once we're both done exploring and finally be together again. It's they both fully truly thought it was done. Yet they, through dating a bunch of other people and all these other life experiences, still back and found each other because I'm sure they never found anyone else like them. So it does happen, but it only will happen if you don't hold out hope and you truly can get yourself to fully move on.
You have to grow to be the most incredible person, full woman that you can be. And when you come back, or when he does see you, or you see him, and after you guys have all these other experiences that weren't meant to be because you were really truly meant to be, then that's going to hit home real big time. So you got to go grow. You have to go forward and let it play its toll. I know that, we talked, in other shows that my son, my 2 of my nephews married their high school sweethearts. And there were periods of time where they broke up. It did happen and they got back together. But I'm not saying, wait, do not wait. You got to move on. You got to let yourself bloom to the flower that you are really intended to be. If I have to use a metaphor. And that means life experiences, all kinds of life experiences.
Yeah, it's tough because I think a lot of us out there can look back at, our past relationships and say, oh, thank God I didn't end up with that person. And I can put myself in these shoes yesterday. I had my college boyfriend, dated 2.5, almost 3 years, break up with me in a text message. And he was 23. And they all spew the same bullshit. I literally pulled it up just to see if I still had it. I've been thinking a lot, and I really don't think I'll ever be able to live up to what you need out of me and what you deserve out of a boyfriend. We've been through the same argument 100 times that I don't call enough, and it's true. I don't call enough for a relationship, but I really don't see myself changing that. I really don't know if I'll be moving back to the US anytime soon. Things have changed and I can't be what you deserve in a boyfriend. You're an amazing young woman who was always there for me and I never gave you what you deserved. I really don't think I'll ever be able to. Sorry, Morgan.
See,
that was my breakup.
See, but here's the thing.
After 2.5 years.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I got.
If that was, he came to Minnesota, sat down with you and said, hey, I just want to have a serious conversation.
I would have taken a phone call.
No, right. But if you sit in person, because there is some maturity and respect in those words.
Respect.
In those words.
But he gave her a nice text message.
I know, but the way it's done is the immature and
he had another girlfriend already.
I know. So it's more the fact that if you can actually sit down and say that, it's worlds different. This is like to the guy in this story, right?
Yeah.
If you could actually sit down and do that.
I'm just using it as an example of like words, like him saying like, oh, I know you're the best I'll ever get. Those are just words.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, I could say that to you. I could say that to my ex. It's so easily said in the moment. And he probably does care greatly for her. But I think like I'm trying to like put it in a perspective in a sense where it's like it is really, really hard to break up with someone you thought is your forever. And I'm trying to put it in a way too where it's like every single relationship I had, you do talk about marriage. You ask those questions with each person as you get more serious.
You got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out. So like I'm just trying to say like just because you had these conversations with him doesn't mean you're not going to have them again with someone else. And looking back at, that relationship, I remember that heartbreak. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to have anyone better. I'm never going to be able to move on. And yet I'm so glad I did because my friends were saying the same stuff. I did deserve better. I deserve someone who's going to choose me, who's not going to break up with me after freshman year because he wants to go party and meet girls and hook up with everyone. And you do too. And it's hard because that is like young love. That's the epitome of losing young love. And so I'm just trying to put it into this perspective of like, I know it is hard and you are miserable and you think this is your person. And maybe he will be years down the road, but don't think about that now.
Just don't even consider it.
Don't even consider it. I wouldn't even put that as a thought in your mind because you do deserve better.
I just can't see somebody saying, I want to be friends or something later that would break up with you over a telephone and not have the respect to come talk to you and say, look, I mean, you guys were best friends. And best friends really come down and really have a real conversation. I'm feeling this or I'm feeling emotions. I want to go out explore. I want to see what it is to be with somebody else.
He's 19. He's just...
But if somebody has a conversation that you really, if you're a couple that are going to work through life together, these are the conversations that they should have had that day, even to end it. They should have had an honest, true conversation where they are to bring it whole. That's what I would at least hope, some semblance of that rather than just the easy phone call saying, hey, I'm checking out. Good luck to you.
But at 19, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think you really know how to have those conversations yet. I think that like this boyfriend of mine, 23 at the time we broke up. He played 2 years of junior hockey and then went to 4 years of college. And
all he was interested in was being done with the relationship because he had somebody else there and he just wanted to be clean cut and through.
And
he didn't care.
And maybe this guy does have someone else already. Maybe he doesn't. He just wants to see what's out there. But I will say, like, it is hard to have those conversations, especially if you've never had them before and you don't know how to break up.
So you're cutting him slack.
I am. I think, we all have to go through that. And I think, I've been that girl sitting there crying outside the car for my high school boyfriend. Why are we breaking up? Like, I thought you loved me. I thought we were going to make it work. I thought we were everything. And I'm literally crying my fucking guts out. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. I just can't do this. Like, I've been there. And so, she was the same way, asking him like, why can't we make it work? And it's like, you shouldn't have to cry and beg someone to want to be with you.
I agree with that. And that would, and I would hope that in this conversation, that wouldn't have happened if he would have fessed up with what's really going on in his life and his truth
But
about.
maybe he doesn't even know yet.
Well,
Maybe he just has realized that they're not
I got it.
meant to be.
I get it. I
Who
understand
knows?
that sometimes the chicken shit way may be excusable. I know that I went out with a woman from the time I was 18. It took me years for her to go out with me. And we were together for 4 years. And that day came where I said to her, we're just not going to make it. I need to go out and explore. I don't want to cheat on you. I don't want to lie to you. I just want to let you know where I'm at. And if something happens in the future and we end up back, I knew I was always honest with her.
Yeah.
And and she deserved the respect to know where we were and why we are there. And there was no working it out because of A. You can't get away from A. I'm going to go experience this. You need to experience this.
Yeah. I think the last point I'll say before we move on is it's hurting that much more because you didn't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's making you almost cling to it more is because of the shock, because that'll make you try to pull it back as much as you can. Whereas if you had seen it coming, I feel like it's a little less so.
Yeah. No, you
Still
you move
heartbreak,
on, but it's easier to move
But
on.
I think the shock makes you be like, no.
I will share this with you, and this is my life experience. When this happens, don't sit there and fight with them to stay going, because at the end of the day, you may make it last another week or another 2 weeks, but it does always end up in the same place.
It will.
Done. So, when you feel the game coming to an end, when you start keeping score at the game, or you're worried about, going to overtime, just let it go away. And if something happens in another day or another time, hey, great, because people always dwell when they finally have a fall in their next relationship, or the one after that, or the one after that. They go back and they reflect on who was great in their life and who treated them really with respect and who they got along with, and they start. They always do think about that time if they made a mistake. I know I have done it, at least, and I know a lot of friends I had that in those lull times, you do reflect.
Oh, he came. My ex, he came back. Lots of apologies. Lots of apologies.
Epiphany?
Oh, yeah.
Epiphany?
Had epiphany?
Yeah.
It's an N or an M?
Epiphany.
Epiphany.
Epiphany,
Yeah.
TH.
Epiphany.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's not TH.
Yeah,
Epiph.
and for your own sake, do not try to be friends with an ex when you are still in love with them and you are hurting like this.
Right.
And that goes for anyone. You
Gotta heal.
cannot be friends with an ex if you still have strong feelings and you're hoping in the back of your head you'll get back together. It doesn't work. It just prolongs the pain.
Yeah. Well, it might increase the pain too, because you have to
Yeah.
see them
Don't do
other
it.
things
It's not
without
worth
you.
it. It's just not worth it.
Okay.
All right, ready for a new one?
Up
No.
next. Hi, Jerry, Justin, and Morgan. I'm a huge fan of both shows and love to hear all the stories. Sorry if this is long, but I, 22 female, lost my best friend, 22 female, in an accident last week. I don't have many friends I can talk to, and she was what I would call my platonic soulmate. So I would usually go to her with this, but now I can't and don't have a relationship with my own dad anymore. My problem is with my ex-boyfriend, 23 male. We broke up a couple of weeks ago. As he said, he wasn't ready for commitment. Not to me, but more he wasn't ready to commit to having to see me and play the boyfriend role. However, we still see each other almost daily. Whenever we are together, he still acts like we're in a relationship, and it is confusing to me. Whenever I try to put some distance between us, not messaging / seeing him, etc., he is phoning me up and asking why. The loss of my best friend brought us closer, as he has dealt with the same thing 2 years ago. And some days he's amazing at helping me through the pain, and other days he tells me he's not ready for the commitment. I guess I'm just looking for advice on how to deal with the situation and how to deal with grief, as I have never lost anyone before. Thank you so much for listening. Ideal outcome, to be able to deal with the grief and not let it consume me. Also to know where I stand. Anything else? His family is amazing with me and disapprove of what he's doing. They tell me he wants to be with me, but he's playing games. He also said he wants to focus on himself, the gym, and playing his video games.
This is interesting to the fact that you guys are definitely friends. And he said, look, I'm not interested in being your boyfriend. I want to be your friend, and I'm cool with that. But being a friend is having someone that you can talk to. And he can be that platonic person. You don't have to try to press the role of him being your boyfriend, nor does he have to pretend he's your boyfriend. You're not asking him for any intimacy. You're saying, hear me out, talk to me. I've lost this person who was, so where I relied on, and then you and I are taking a change, which I relied on, and I feel totally abandoned all the way with no support from anybody. And if you're my friend, be my friend. And if he gets that, he will still be your friend. And if not, then you just cut off that relationship totally for right now. And you're gonna have to find either someone with professional help to help talk to you, which I hate to say, go find professional help, to go talk about your friend, but it's not going to hurt to talk to someone that's going to be there to give you advice and counsel you through this. I'm sure you can probably go to, find some groups that are grief groups that can probably help you too. Because remember, you're dealing with grief, not only from the loss of your friend, your best friend, your soulmate, you're dealing with the grief of this relationship as well. There's all kinds of stuff going on with you. So if you were able to have a connection, if Morgan came to me with this stuff, yes, as her dad, I would be there and I would console her and I would sit down and say, hey, let's just watch a movie together. And I don't know where your mom is, and I don't know if you have any siblings or cousins, but other people that love you that will say, hey, just come over and just hang with us. So I would reach out to see what other network you have within your family beside your ex-boyfriend that is going to be there for you, that you can just sit and even if it's going to your grandmother's house or your aunt's house or somebody that you knew or that just watch TV with them, at least you have someone with you for that moment to give you a little extra support. And I get the support need. Do you guys have any ideas?
I think, I haven't dealt with that type of grief and losing someone that close to you, but I can imagine it makes you cling to those around you. And you're not in a clear mental headspace where you can be very rational and think, oh, I probably shouldn't keep talking to my now ex-boyfriend, but I'm going through so much shit, it makes me feel better. So I just keep seeing him every day, and that's very confusing because it's not easy to break up and immediately just be like, okay, we're friends. You definitely need to grow apart romantically to then come back together and have a friendship. So I think what you're saying is right in the sense that you probably should get some space from him to be able to evaluate that situation from a distance, not while you're sitting right next to him and he's your comfort space right now. But the fact that you both went through something, you might just get into an awkward space where you become really close, and then you have these very strong feelings, and then you are heartbroken all over again. So it just might be balancing the fact that you're going through such trauma and grief right now, but also kind of need to distance from this source of comfort.
Well, it's gooey, and I'll explain you why I say it's gooey. If you're boyfriend and girlfriend and you're grieving the loss of your girlfriend, you're going to go up to him and you're going to, it would be very not uncommon for you guys to cuddle up together on the sofa and watch a movie together and hold each other and, and be together. Now all you can do is go sit at each end of the couch, and you can't get that reinforcement. And that might cause you pain as well, that you can't feel the comfort to embrace one another, to soothe, that primal need. Yeah. Where if you're with, you're a family member, it's a different kind of comfort zone that you can sit there with them and watch TV and you can reflect and have conversations. It might be easier for you Because as much as you might be doing that and then grieving your relationship with the boyfriend, thinking, I just wish I was with him right now, that's not part of the options. Yeah, that option is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a part of the problem here.
Right.
This guy gets to have his cake and eat it too. And I mean, she even says, it's confusing to me. We broke up and yet he's acting like we're in a relationship. And I mean, if you look at everything he says, this guy's living the dream. He gets to have a girlfriend and that emotional intimacy, that maybe even physical intimacy of a relationship without, I'm not ready for a commitment. I'm not ready yet.
He's not even talking about it for the commitment. He says, I don't even want to date.
But he says, I'm not ready for the commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the boyfriend role. Yet he'll act like it when it benefits him. And then when she starts slipping away, she gets the calls.
So
and
you
that's
need the
exactly
distance.
what these people do. And it's sad because he could be such a great support for you right now in this moment of need and loss and fucking tragedy. And I don't want to say he's maybe taking advantage of a situation. Maybe it just kind of slipped into it because, love it's like muscle memory. You can fall back into it and it's easy. But I don't want to see you get taken advantage of and see you get hurt even more by, his desire to.
There's a codependency there with him as well. So if you end it and you really walk away and go to somebody else to go find this nurturing that you need, at least for the mourning of your friend and maybe the relationship as well, I only hope that you have some other friend or a family member that you can go hang out with.
Grief groups are amazing. There are some amazing grief groups out there, and I'm sure there's one local you can find on Facebook or other means. I mean, there are so many people out there dealing with loss who can relate to you and help you, and you'll maybe even meet some new friends along the road and everything. And it sucks. I'm so sorry to hear you're going through this, and it's just shitty. But I don't think you necessarily need to cut him off just like straight shot. But I think you definitely, every time you're around him, need to draw solid boundaries that we are friends. We're not falling back into old patterns. We're not cuddling. We're not making out. We're not holding hands. We are friends.
And you need the space, not every day.
Sometimes
otherwise you'll never see it that way. You'll be stuck.
This might be a crazy thought, and I don't know what you guys think of it, but maybe you'll find some solace if you go to where they buried your friend and you just sit with her and you talk to her and bring a picnic basket, bring a bottle of wine and a glass and sit there and do your thing.
Or water. I mean, you might have to drive home.
But because she's passed and she's crossed doesn't mean that you can't still have a spiritual relationship. Mm-hmm. And this is what you need right now is a spiritual relationship. But she is there if you allow it. And just in your mind, listen. I mean, you probably get the answers. I would certainly give it a try. And you might all think I'm nuts, but
no, I think it could be very helpful.
I believe in this.
I believe it could be very, very helpful. And I mean, journaling is also amazing.
And you don't have to go to a cemetery to have a conversation with her. You can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it from the comfort of your chair in your living room. It's just where you find that connection stronger.
Yeah. Again, so incredibly sorry for your loss, and I can't imagine that feeling. But there are so many people out there that would love the opportunity to get to know you and help you, and maybe you even help them along their grief journey. Mm-hmm. So I think
do write back if you want to get through it. On the comment line, you can always comment when you hear the story, and we read the comments. So we can reach out to you and we can, address that comment.
Yeah. And if anyone else out there has, we always say this at the end, but if anyone else out there relates to this story or any of the ones we talk about, go to YouTube. It's really easy to make an anonymous account so you can leave a comment, because so many of the listeners out here would appreciate it and maybe benefit from it, especially if you've gone through something similar. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I read them because I'm trying to connect with everybody. I want them to know that we're here.
Yeah, we are here.
Okay.
Okay, let's keep cruising. Hi, Jerry. I'm a newer listener to this podcast, but I absolutely adore Morgan and Two Hot Takes, and I really appreciate the thoughtful advice you've given over at THT. I dated one of my good friends, and the breakup threw me off kilter. I'm doing okay. Honestly, I just started grad school, which is super intense, and I have lots of friends who have been supportive. However, the breakup resulted in me needing to take space from my ex, which led to a change in my relationship with our mutual friends. Is it possible to find a new normal with these mutual friends if I can't reconcile my friendship with my ex? Due to the timing of the breakup, beginning of April, this group of friends have been really, really busy with work and life, so I haven't seen them in a couple of months. I've reached out a few times, but our schedules don't seem to line up. In my head, I worry that this breakup ruined their opinion of me, or that my choice to take space from my ex stained their image of me or something. To clarify, my ex and I dated for 6 months, and they kind of led me on. They would say with their words that they were serious about me, but wouldn't follow through with actions, and at times were pretty rude to me. They ended up breaking up with me 12 hours after we got from our couples trip, and I was caught pretty off guard. Since then, they haven't been willing to take accountability or even confront the conflict to try and be friends. I haven't talked to my ex since early May, but I keep having these intrusive thoughts of my ex hanging out with all of our mutual friends on a regular basis while I'm over here struggling to connect with these people. And I also don't think that's fair to my friends, one of whom I lived with for 6 years and met my first year at college. I believe these friends really care about me. I just find myself in these destructive thought cycles, even though I'm at the point now where I'm really happy being single and enjoying a full and meaningful life. Is there something more I should be doing to alter these thoughts? Or how do I maintain trust in myself that I'm on the right path? Sorry for the long email. I wanted you to be sure I had all the right context. I'm 25 and non-binary. I go by they, them. Ideal outcome, I guess either self-acceptance or a plan of action to reconnect with my friends more deeply. Other info, I do have plans to see one of my friends soon, and my old roommate and I talk about meeting up. She's just been traveling a lot. Kind of ridiculous for me to feel so insecure, right?
I think you just have to take it. There's a couple tactics to take. One, you can literally have a party, have an evening, invite your friends, and say, "I'm having a party. If you're all welcome to come." If you don't feel that you can invite them, then don't. If you feel you can invite the other person, certainly invite them and see if they show. And be a friend to everybody. Show there's no hard feelings between anybody, and that your interest is the friendship of everybody. And you don't want to deter that friendship. If you want to take it independently, make a lunch for 2 of those friends to join you, and another 2 another day, and say, "I want to continue our friendships, and I hope that that what happened with my past relationship between me and X isn't going to affect our friendship because I don't have any hostility to X. I just know that we have a healing period to go through, and we'll get there. And we shouldn't feel weird or uncomfortable. There's no sides to pick here, that we are friends."
Yeah, a lot of people come into the studio and were writing songs about the fact that they were in a friend group, got close with one of the people in the group, which is natural because you're all really close friends, and then something happens and they break up, and it's either like, yep, we're just not working out. But most often, I believe that within friend groups, when you date within friend groups, it ends in some kind of bad way. And then there's this just giant rift. I mean, it's like the elephant in the room. So now you want to get all your friends together like you used to, and some friends are on one side, some friends are the other side, and it just this like enemy has been created, and it's like you've divided the whole group. And so it's hard to say don't date within friend groups because it's so natural to get close to people within close friend groups, but it just gets so messy, and it really is like you kind of just got to play it. There's certain things you can do to test it.
Well, there's rules, and here's rule 1: when you're with your group, don't ask about the ex. Don't go probe them. Is the ex dating? Is the ex doing this? Don't probe about the ex. You can just say, I hope the ex is great. And let's worry about what's going on within our own relationships right now and humor. But don't drag the ex's spirit into it, because then they're almost like they're using us as a tool to find out about the ex. So that's why there's certain rules that go along with this to keep your friendships with those individuals at the table between you and those individuals at the table.
Right. And I think that's the smartest thing in this whole story is the fact that you're going to meet up with one of them soon. And I think the one-on-ones are really good because it's hard for that dynamic to keep playing out when it's one-on-one. 2 versus 1, you never know if they're like texting and saying, this is super weird. They're asking about X and whatever. But if it's just one-on-one, you can really rekindle a friendship or a connection and make sure it's still there. And you have enough of those with all the people in the group. Next time you all get together, you at least know that you have the support of the people.
Yeah,
so
it does get weird in there. It does get weird. And you have to really just leave that, that the dead baggage, off the train this trip.
What does that mean?
You know what I mean.
And then hopefully you all can coexist in a big friend circle in time.
I honestly think the group invite was the best idea.
You like all at once.
I do, because I think maybe they're apprehensive and come up with excuses because they're like, we knew so-and-so longer. We don't want to hurt so-and-so. And like, it's kind of like, hey, let's all come together. See, there's no issue. It's just like old times. It didn't work out between us and no hard feelings. I'm enjoying single life and finding myself and having a good time. And I just want to be close with you all still. So it gives people a chance to just see it's water under the bridge.
I think both options are valid.
Whatever works best for you.
You're going to know your friends the best and the dynamics within this group. So, but one of them work.
Yeah. It's like choose your own adventure. Whatever one works best for you, and just it's hard. This is something I really relate to. I still, to this day, I question daily. I'm like, do my friends even like me? I'm like, are my friends really my friends? And like, I love them. They don't give me any reason to doubt they're my friends, but it's just our fucking brains. They'll just sabotage us sometimes.
And that doesn't even relate to a heartbreak.
No, but it's, it's tough because, heartbreak is the reason they're feeling maybe a little insecure with their friendships because, that everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's tough. Like it's definitely a feeling that I think a lot of people deal with. And all you can do is reach out and let the actions speak for themselves. And if they're unwilling to connect and hang out and whatever, then move on, but I don't think that's the case. I think they'll come around and it's probably just timing. Summer's been crazy. Feels like everything's been in retrograde for the past year.
The world has been in retrograde for
Oh my God. This year has been crazy. I don't know what it was about this year. And if we all just went into like hyperdrive because of COVID and missing like 2 years, but this year has felt nuts. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just say they're busy. And
it's kind of true. Everyone in music is ready to be done. Everyone who's come through the studio is like, after Thanksgiving, done, going home early. It's almost like you had the 2 weird years and then you've kind of put in this year in overdrive. So
I think that's what it is.
I'm out.
I actually think that's what it is. And COVID also changed how we interact socially.
Everything.
I mean, a lot of people like realized like, damn, I hate going out. Why did I go out so much? And now we don't even know how to go out.
Well, we were in a long line earlier and I was just thinking, okay, everyone is obviously standing there like this, right?
On their
Every
phones.
single person, except for like 2 girls that were having a conversation.
Isn't that sad?
And I was just thinking, well, okay, go back 30 years.
We would have talked
Everyone's
to the people
just standing here like this.
Looking up.
And I guarantee you, every
Talking.
single person would be in some kind of conversation with people they didn't know.
We need to be more social with
And
strangers.
so I was just thinking about that today. It was so weird and COVID made that extra. So it's like you don't even say hi to people anymore. You don't wave to people. You know, it's like it just totally changed.
This is a challenge for everyone listening. Wherever you're listening, whenever, if you're listening at night, accept this challenge the next day. But like start a conversation with a random stranger. As hard as that is, I have social anxiety, like I get it. But or just
start
say
with
hi.
a compliment.
Just say hi. Yeah, compliments are easy.
I haven't had a problem with that.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Yeah, but you come from the era before.
Yeah,
Like
you sing to grocery store
You come
clerks.
from a few eras before, you know? So you've been around like you were standing in line. You didn't have a phone to start like playing a game on. You were just like,
yeah.
hey, I like that shirt. And then you just like, where are you from?
My
You know,
dad
like-
is wild to take places. Like actually he is a liability when you take him in public.
My favorite one was, it was pretty early on, so we didn't have the dynamic we have now. It was like early. And for some reason, we end up at Lowe's together. And I wasn't at the point where I'd be like, Jerry, no, we're not doing that right now. But we're in line waiting, and it's kind of busy. And you know how people are at like stores like that, and they're in line and busy.
Everyone's in a hurry, yeah.
I'm afraid to hear what I did.
You just start like, I think you started by whistling, but then all of a sudden you just start singing this song out loud.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if you remember it. And you're singing, and like the cashier kind of looked, and the other people in line looked, and I'm just standing there like, okay, I'm not really in the position yet to tell my girlfriend's dad, like,
Shut the
hey,
fuck
Jerry,
up.
let's not sing right now. Like, I'm not vibing with this. It was more kind of like, I'm going to let him do his thing. Hopefully the line moves fast and we get out of here. But
So
that was definitely one of those moments.
What happened? Did anyone come and take me away?
No, you're still here,
but
obviously.
the line was so slow. I feel like that's the longest I've ever waited in line. Ever.
Yeah.
Even at the DMV.
That's a normal thing. I will say the best thing we have ever created, though, is the family whistle.
That family whistle started long before you were born.
Oh my God, that's great. So for those of you, I don't think we've ever talked about it.
I don't think you share. I don't think you do it.
It's probably, you don't think I share?
No,
You
because
think
if
people will steal the
everyone
whistle?
starts doing it,
Oh,
it's not going to be effective.
No.
Oh yeah, that would be horrible.
I don't think,
You'll dilute it.
oh, well, I can't tell you how to
You
find
got to
your family
imagine
in a
this
store.
show is going to become the biggest show that has ever been. So
I'm sorry, guys, I can't tell you.
you'll just have to catch us doing it in public.
If you hear that in a store, we are close by.
Well, all right, there we go. It's
close.
Well, it's
They
done.
don't know the hack. And if you have a family whistle and you try to locate your family members by a whistle in a random store and everyone looks at you, just create a new whistle that's not our whistle. So we're good.
All right.
That's all I had for you today.
That's it. Well,
Yeah.
guys, this is another week that we have gotten through. So we'll see you next week. And oh, by the way, if you tune in to our Patreon, we're going to do a Patreon right after this. So
Sure are.
I don't know if it's a getting through. You know, we didn't get through
Yeah,
this
it wasn't
week.
like a burden.
Yeah.
Oh,
You make
well.
it sound like homework.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not homework. That's it for the show.
God.
You got to give
Show the people you love
the
them.
nice, like, warm goodbye.
Remember what you used to do? Thank you for inviting me into your home and your heart.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
That way, whatever you said back at episode 3 was pretty good.
And that reminds me of the show Morning Glory. And good night. And the next
Good
person.
night.
And thanks for being with it. And good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
And
Good night.
and
I love that movie. Rachel McAdams, Harrison Ford,
and
Diane Keaton,
on that note,
all-star cast.
good night. We hope to see you join us again next week. And by the way, we're going to do Patreon right after this. So join us for our Patreon.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, wait a minute. And good night.
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 Hey, you want to hear
Good
the bad
night.
thing? She's the one that's going to edit it. I'm going to be cut no matter if I did the last
I'm leaving
one.
all this in.
Everyone has stopped listening at this point. It's over.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.